Hello, everyone. We're back. It's us. Say hi.
Hi.
Welcome back to Hot
How's the
Springs and
English talk?
Hydras. This is episode 10. So, one way or another, this is the last final episode. Good luck to all of the players. We'll see if you need it or not, I guess. I don't know how to say that better. Where we left off, if you're looking at the screen, you will see quite the monstrosity. But Mocha, hello, welcome back, has not been here for a few sessions. And so we're going to pick up with Winston and see what he has been seeing. So last we saw Winston. Winston was on the ground maintaining an entangle spell to hold open basically a tear in reality. Let's not mince words. And Mocha, Winston had basically was putting all of their effort into holding this open. The magical force required to counteract what was happening, that Jiraga, the wizard that you have been tracking and or not tracking, well, yeah, tracking, catching, and now fighting. The magical energy that they're using to hold open this hole is quite substantial and is taking all of your effort to just hold it open to countering that act. After some exploratory spelunking by Cass into this Terran reality, the entangle finally gives way, and the magical backlash of it knocks you unconscious, Winston.
How convenient.
How convenient. As you come to, you do not see your friends. You do not see the hole in reality. You do still see the hot springs. They were relatively nearby at this space, I believe. You see some of the civilians off in their huddled masses, worried and such. I believe they were actually helping deal with a fire at the time, but they seem to be mostly just kind of huddling and being like, "Is it over? What's going on?" And you also find your fur still sort of tingles, like holding a static electricity charge from the magical backlash. Um, as you look around in this dark night, which is getting very close to becoming morning, you do see a path of destruction that a large creature has made through the woods, off towards actually the road, which is a ways down. Your hot springs aren't like right on the road, right? The main thoroughfare. That said, is thoroughfare the right term? I'm not 100% sure. Um, I don't know if it's like in specifically industrial or if it's not. I don't know. Either way, that is where you find yourself, Winston. What do you do?
Oh, goodness. Oh, my wet foot. I am alone, but I am alive. Where is everyone, though? So I'm looking around. I slowly get up. Kind of got a bit of vertigo going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm just kind of sniffing the ground, but there's not a single soul to be found. I get a little worried. Where's my long-eared friend? And I call out into like the surroundings. Is anyone there? And it just echoes apparently.
I think it's likely that the civilians are in earshot of you, and they're like, "Are you all right? They went that way."
Along that way, looking out the hole. What happened? What year is it?
Yeah, let's actually have your I've forgotten their name because I didn't think they were gonna come up. But your beaver friend who works for you at the hot springs hustles over.
Oh, I forgot her name
Yeah,
too.
I think she had a similar
Waffle Tail.
waffle tail. Yeah, sure. No, but kind of. Hmm.
Oh, there's a familiar
You
sight.
are you all right? Are you all right, Winston?
Oh, I'm
Get
fine,
up, get
but
up. It was
where are the others?
it was this. It ran right past you, chasing them down. Oh, you're lucky to be alive.
It's what is it? What did you
This
see?
massive creature came out of the ground, it's covered in fire and ice. Oh, and I think like
Fire.
you see her
That
like
sounds very
look over.
counterproductive.
Sorry, you see her like look towards like where it marched off to, and I think maybe even like through the darkness you actually see like this glimmer of light in the distance, like fire, like a torch burning further into the forest. Um, as you look, you actually see it wink out. However,
Oh God. And okay, so I look back and I go, just take care of the health springs. Make sure it's still there when I get back.
I'm keeping
And I
everyone
start
safe. Just make
screaming,
sure you are.
oh, you're the best. I owe your foot so much. This wet foot is on this way. Let's be best friends. And I just gallop towards the spark.
Winston, as you rush off with a clear destination in mind, the camera sees you like disappear in a blast of like black sparks. It's like purple, really. Whatever. Cool magic. Imagine cool magic, and you disappear. We're gonna cut over. Cass and Flynn, you find yourselves hovering in a endless void, with
Oh yeah, we went to
dancing
the
white
voyage.
motes in front of your eyes. You do not actually see each other, but you both are seeing the same vision around you. Um, Flynn had just like rushed up to jump on the back of the Hydra, Cass pulling him on, right when the darkness set in, and has not had a chance to adjust. But Cass, with your firm stance where you were, you look around in the darkness. You do feel the weight of it on you, the exhaustion setting in, but you have a moment. It is your turn in initiative, actually, even.
Oh, nice.
You are in the darkness.
Am I still holding on to the Hydra? Or,
You do not feel it beneath you.
I guess I'm gonna feel around, see if I can feel anything or anyone.
You do
in
not
darkness.
feel anything.
Hold on 1 sec. I know my magic makes it glow. We tried this last time, it didn't work, did it? Using those magic to
With your
try and make some light
previous,
in it.
like, exploratory spelunking, as I previously called it, you found very little way of interacting while in the void. Now, it is slightly different, potentially. Maybe not, maybe. It's a little hard to say, right? As this is a
Yeah.
effect created by the Hydra as opposed to the whole opening up in reality. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's not. You do feel like the magical energies of like the space around you, it's like you are seeping in the magical energies that you would have to commune with to channel magic, and perhaps there is something you can do with that, but it would be purely experimental, like instinctual, trying to just do a thing, not a use of training, if that makes sense.
Okay. And I do a kind of like, kind of find some kind of instinctual thing to do.
Well, what do you want to do? Is really the question.
Well, I'd like to like reveal something, I guess. I'd like to um find some kind of if I want to, I'd like to find if I find Flynn, I would like to find find Flynn. Uh
I think I give this to you. Yeah, in this space, especially having been in a similar, if not the same, uh, state before, um, you there is a lack of physicality here. There is not a point in space that exists that you can simply touch and feel. You've deduced this. Um, you are in just like a elemental magical.
Thing of things.
It's almost like a being in a dream, right? There's not a thing there.
Okay, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna make a Arcana check, I guess.
What are you looking for?
Some kind of. I mean, like, yeah, I get that there's no like point in space to find. Just like find anything besides me in the space, I guess.
You
Like I mean, this is gonna resurface, and if I'm not holding on to it when it happens, then that's a big problem.
okay? I mean that's an actionable thing that you can try and do.
Yeah.
Are you trying to anchor yourself to something for when it resurfaces, or are you trying to come back to the world?
Trying to get to Hydras for resources.
Great. I would like you to make me a cool, fancy magic check, but I want you to be using your charisma, not your intelligence.
Okay. Okay, and I will get my first two bonus, but I don't have a first shoot. Bonus and Arcana. Okay, cool. So you charisma.
Yeah, roll your charisma. That's a 16. Okay, very good. You feel out into the darkness, and while you're not like tapping into magic and making an effect happen like you would in the real world, right, where you like reach out into the magical energies of the world and focus it into this ice and then like throw it, for example.
Yeah.
But you are touching those magical energies and are able to basically hold on to them. You feel like if something were to change, you would go with it, but also you are, meta magically touching these like strands of magic that surround you, if that makes sense.
Okay, cool.
While you don't have a moment to really do anything with them right now, as you have just sort of spent your time sort of feeling out the space, assuming if nothing changes or if this can like lasts when you resurface, you will have the ability. You are in contact with something that you could manipulate potentially if you have an intent. So, Puddles, you are standing in the woods, looking back at where the Hydra had been. It was there with Cass on its back, and Flynn jumps up to join her, and then it disappears into the ground, into a pool of darkness, which then closed up again behind it. A second
Go on.
later, you had previously described yourself as kind of like, oh wow, what just happened? But not really like taking any immediate actions. In that moment, the air in front of you crackles, and bounding out of nowhere is Winston. Winston, you have just run forward into the woods and somehow traversed great distances immediately. Maybe aren't aware that you traversed great distances, but the space before you like changed dramatically pretty quickly. And suddenly Puddles is right in front of you. Two of you see each other.
And I screeched to a halt. What's going on? How did I get here? Oh my goodness, my left foot's still got a splint to its step.
You see, like, probably don't really see. Puddles, you see, like, crackling energy through, like, mage senses. running along the fur on Winston's back and sides and everywhere. He's covered in fur. You have a moment to...
Things don't make any more sense over here. Don't ask me.
Fair enough. With that...
You're all zappy.
Oh, I hardly noticed. I keep hearing my patrons barking from the hot springs, but I just couldn't help myself. I had to remember to see where my friends are.
Winston,
You okay?
you see a pool of black energy appear behind Puddles. Puddles, you feel it appear as soon as it does. It's not lost upon you despite being behind you. It's reminiscent of the holes that you saw opening before, Winston, and out of it, these multiple long-necked heads made of fire, ice, vines, and pure void energy extend out of the hole, and the body rises up, this large, bulbous body, with the sort of, like, layered, like, twisted flesh that you saw along Jiraga's body when he was a person. On their back is Cass and Flynn. Cass, as you arise, as your vision goes from being dark to light, although it is still night, as it is important to remember. You feel you are in somehow not control of the creature, but perched upon it. You still feel like you have magically tethered yourself to it, and potentially could utilize that given enough time. Flynn, you are very much in a daze. You feel like you have whiplash as you descended into darkness and then returned before you really even had a chance to grow accustomed to it. Although you do still feel the exhaustion weighing upon you. Speaking of Cass,
Yeah.
how many levels of exhaustion do you have right now?
I think only one.
You definitely have at least 2, but I think you're at 3 or 4.
Well, where they come from?
So when you were first in the hole, in the exploratory spelunking, as previously referred to,
Yeah, I remember
you
that
acquired at least 1, but I think 2 levels of exhaustion. And then you just got another one, I think, unless you succeeded that save. Maybe I'm misremembering. I trust you to have written it down, so...
I think she only has 2 right now. I don't know where the third one was
Okay.
from.
Yeah. I have 1 written down, but that's I'm forgetting to write on the second one.
It's possible.
Sorry about that.
Possible. I'm not sure. Keep track of that, but that is low enough that it's probably just more like just flavor. Like, I know that mechanically speaking, that gives you disadvantage on certain things and like reduces your movement speed and stuff. Those impacts are kind of boring, and I don't really care that much. So you are exhausted. Play it up. Have fun with it, but keep track of that number. Because if it gets too high, you can die.
That makes sense.
And it's yeah. As the creature once again appears, it is right next to Puddles and Winston. Puddles, you have a moment to react before anything else happens. What do you do?
I don't think there's really anything I can do. I mean, I could throw more fire at it or something, but that doesn't seem to have done much.
Okay. Would you like...
I'll do the normal D&D player thing and look at my character sheet.
Great.
You know what? Is it right in front of me?
It's right in front of you. Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna grab it.
It's like technically behind you, but it's in melee. Yeah.
I'm gonna bite it.
You're gonna bite it?
Yeah, my shocking grasp is with my mouth.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, very cool. You elongate your neck and reach out with your biting mouth and attempt to bite into
No, not long neck. Just bite it.
your turtleneck.
Yeah.
Yeah. You bite into the rubbery hide of the thing and attempt to. I can't think of the
I think I
word.
rolled 2 2s.
Release. Pardon?
I think I rolled 2 2s.
Yes, you rolled very poorly. Attempt to release the sort of electric charge from you or your mouth and jaws. The magical energy does, create a magical effect. That still happens, but it simply sort of not trickles. That's the weird way of wording that. But like the rubbery hide absorbs the electrical shock without it responding too much. Anything else you'd like to do?
No, that's my turn.
Great. Are you still maintaining a gust of wind? I think you're still holding it.
Let's go with no. I
Okay.
don't think it really makes much sense.
Works for me. Yeah. You turn around, it shows up, you bite down, and one of the necks rears back. I'm going to say this fire one, that feels appropriate, and breath of fire hits both Puddles and Winston. I need both of you to make dexterity saving throws. Okay, I don't think shield can apply to that, so that's fine. And Winston.
I was just trying to read it. I don't think it's
Nope, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I just want to double check because they definitely could have if they decided that it does. It does seem a bit weird that it doesn't. Winston, you roll an 8 on your dexterity saving throw. This situation has very much taken you aback. This is the first time you were seeing this creature. You do not know what it's capable of. You just saw Puddles try to bite it, and now it is breathing fire onto you. Puddles, you are similarly not in a very advantageous position, and both of you are caught up in the flames. I'm going to make a roll. Let me just double check the damage on this. Yes, okay. Okay, that's a low roll. I would like both of you to mark 7 fire damage as the fire billows out of this flame-like head attached by a rock's molten magma and such. It's not technically.
Do I go with hit point maximum and just -7?
Pardon? Oh yeah, your maximum. So your maximum should stay the same, and then your current you want to have it be equal to the maximum -7, unless you had previously taken damage, which you might have because there hasn't been really a time to rest since the beginning of the campaign, honestly. So
Okay.
yeah,
-7.
great. Winston, I'm going to give you a moment to respond before a decent number of attacks are probably going to be levied at a few of you. You do see, to reiterate, Flynn and Cass perched on the back of this thing. But with 5 heads bearing down at you, think about what you want to do.
Can I attempt to do entangle spells to wrap the 5 heads together.
I like it. I like the creativity.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. I need you. Let's see. It's normally a dexterity save for them, but you're trying to use it in an unexpected way. I'd like you to make an Arcana check, but add your Wisdom. So, are you proficient in Arcana? You might be. Wisdom save actually works perfect. Yeah, just use the Wisdom save. That's great. With a 14. Yeah, that's going to work. But I also get to make my save. I think that's silly. That seems like too many factors. Yeah, you describe how you do this.
So usually I summon items to entangle, but in this case I'm gonna try to use the net. Like the
you're going to control
items?
the vine necks. Oh, very good. Yes, so this picture that you're seeing, to actually tell you because you were not here for it, the vine neck had been previously severed, and 2 new vine necks grew from the stump. They are still quite, fresh, but there are enough of it that you can take control of what is there and use it to wrap up the others. That's actually great. You should even have had advantage for that. That's brilliant.
Didn't we burn off the grass next?
I think you just thought about it. I don't think you actually managed to. I think you were like, this will be a good idea next time. I could be mistaken. It's entirely possible.
No, I don't remember that happening either. I don't remember even having it talked about personally, but
I think I talked about it when I was attacked Firebolt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the vine necks sprout and quickly wrap around the other 3, binding them together. The necks have much limited mobility at now, but the heads and jaws are still around. I will also say that you can basically limit its movement as well. The normal entangle spell would be they can't move, so if you wanted to back up or something, you probably could. Although the necks, normally the necks give them additional reach to get to you and stuff without having to be directly next to you, but you're limiting their mobility quite dramatically, so I think that you probably are okay.
Nice.
The necks bound together are swivel and try to bite down at either Flynn or Cass and find they simply cannot. Previously at disadvantage from your position, now cannot possibly make an attack. They do find that they are able to then direct towards Puddles and Winston. I think what we see is them basically all together trying to smack down at Winston. But Winston, you are able to actually back up outside of their effective range while maintaining the spell and being able to sort of control where they can get to. You're in a very strong position. Let's move back to Flynn.
back to Flynn. Flynn feels like he hasn't slept in 4 days.
Yeah.
But he went into this with a plan? Question mark in quotations. So he's just sticking to that. And using his squirrely fingers and toes, he's gripping onto the whatever kind of skin or fur this creature has on the main part of his body, and he's gonna pull out his he has a hand axe. He's gonna pull his hand axe out of a loop on his belt and just go to town on this thing, and he's just gonna start hacking at it like it's a tree trunk.
Nice. All right. Well, it is going to be difficult for it to not get hit, but it is like a very sturdy, rubbery hide. Getting into, hitting the points that are going to actually be effective still might be difficult. So you're lining up your shot, you're trying locate where's best. So make me an attack roll still. Your position and your ability to like really get in where you need to go is giving you advantage, so you're going to be able to hit with that 18. So roll me that damage. Yes, please.
I also have an exhaustion level, so I have disadvantage on ability checks.
Ability checks, yeah, you're okay.
That's different. Okay.
Alright, that's 5 damage. Now, a hand axe, I believe, is normally like a one-handed weapon. So if you do have 2 of them, you could potentially try again. But you're definitely hitting at least the once.
Do I have 2?
You might not, and even if you did, I don't know if you'd be able to like ready both of them right immediately anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, it says 2 beside it, but then I also have a dagger. I was under the impression I took 1 of each at character creation.
Oh, okay.
So that's weird, but no, I think you're right. I think just for the storyline of it, I like the idea that I'm hanging on with 3, 1 hand, 2 feet.
Yeah.
And just hacking at this thing.
Beautiful. You
just like no
crack
thought,
into its back.
Arm hacking at it. Yeah.
Very, very good. Cass, you see this happening. The necks that would normally be trying to bite down at you seem to be very difficult. They're rigid in their bindings. What do you do?
Oh, how's the So the 2 heads that were growing from the vine head.
Yes.
Are they fully grown now? Is it clarify?
They're both not fully grown, but also are like enhanced growth. Like their mass has been magically induced with the entangle spell, but it's more like the entangle has grown from the stump more than it has increased the growth of those heads. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Right. You also do feel that you have that, like, magical tether to the creature in some way if you wish to do anything with that.
I guess, let's see what, sorry, hold on a second. Can you repeat what you last said?
I said you do still feel that magical tether with the creature that you established in the void.
Oh, cool, yeah, so I wonder if I can do some magic to it. Can I, like, use magic to find out, like, what the weakness of it? If I'm still magically attached to it?
Sure. Yeah, okay. How do you do that?
Probably if, I don't know, trying to remember what, the team name,
Try to remember? What do you mean? Aren't you, like, magically, like, scanning it, kind of?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, well, me the player's trying to remember what we call
okay.
But, like, but yeah, trying to remember which, I was feeling the magical energies of things. And use them to incline my magical link with this creature to see how I can destroy it.
Okay, make me like a spell attack.
What would that be?
That's like casting an ice ray.
Okay.
Okay. You feel the magic energy within the tethers. You can tell that they like permeate into the creature, and you can feel around like you can feel like its vitals, if you will, and that it is like quite like fragile in a way. Not like fragile in that it always was, and that it's like you just haven't been able to hit it in the right spot. I mean fragile as in like it has taken a beating, and that it could not being a like purely organic beast, it could magically like fall apart, basically, right? While this is much more advanced than the like constantly falling apart like masses that you saw previously, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It still is a creature of magic that has been bound together, and could be, disenchanted, if you will. But as you feel within it, any like other than just that sort of basic understanding, you're not able to like get in there and do anything, at least not right now. You're
Okay.
You would have like advantage on this check, and you got an 11 with advantage, so you don't have a lot of additional information than just like this is a creature of magic and could potentially be unmade, if you will.
Okay.
But not like how, just potentially. You might have a moment to do like one more thing, but only quickly.
I guess I'll stab it or try to.
I don't think you have time to do that.
Do you have time to do that? Or no?
No, you can take a bonus action.
Okay.
I'm trying to not highlight the seams too much. But yeah, basically, you have gone into the tank to like analyze this thing. And you sort of snap back to focus and, grab your knife and your turn ends, right? Like that's the kind of thing we're talking about.
Yeah, well,
you feel the like body of it like shaking beneath you, and you're like constantly trying to steady yourself as you perch up here.
You make it like kind of like get in position to prepare myself to do a good. I mean, like almost shadow toss, like on the thing and raise my sword and like have an underhand grip to like do a good stab on my turn.
Sure, yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like the Shadow of Colossus reference. It's good.
Yeah,
excellent.
I show you that game. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Also, I've watched like Chris play most of it.
Oh, cool.
The creature itself sort of rumbles and shakes beneath Flynn and Cass's feet, trying to shake them off. It is largely restrained by the entangling spell, and can't be making proper attacks, but is able to sort of shake and twist. I need both of you to make either dexterity or athletics checks, either just like, good footing or like holding on for dear life kind of things.
What athletics or what checks?
Athletics or I guess it would be athletics or acrobatics. I said dexterity save.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them is way better than the other.
Yeah. So, Cass, you roll a 24 twice. That's a natural 19 twice. Not that you have advantage.
Double rolls tonight.
In fact, you have disadvantage. So, yeah, that's it's very good that you rolled that well twice. And you are very easily like balancing until you're getting ready for the stab. You are focused, and then you see Flynn. You see his like grip start to slip.
Can I grab?
You have a moment. You rolled well enough that I'm giving you the chance. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, though. This is definitely a save.
Okay, cool. Oh,
in more ways than one.
So, Cass, you roll a 24 and then also a 25. That's a 19 and a 20. So on your last 4 rolls were 19, 19, 19, 20. Even through disadvantage, you are immediately able to reach out, grab Flynn before he slips and falls from the shaking beast. All without breaking your concentration on your eventual next stab. Very good. Puddles. What would you like to do?
I am a goddamn hero.
Yeah, if you want to quip at each other, go ahead.
I think she refers to herself, I think.
I'm not gonna let go. I'm gonna shake this thing into pieces in my mouth like a dog with a bone.
Great. You're still clamped onto it from your initial bite. Yeah, I'll give you advantage on that. Sure, that seems reasonable. You're in a. It's a weird position. You got blasted with fire, but you held on through all of it, and it is entangled. Yeah, take your advantage. You shock it with your shocking bite. Roll me damage, please.
Is it wearing armor or metal?
No. I should have made one of the heads out of metal. I didn't. It's rock.
That'd
Doesn't
be
count.
cool. That'd be
I can't take
That'd be
reactions
pretty
until
cool,
the start
I
of
should
this
say.
next year.
Yes, it cannot take reactions. Yeah, electricity sparks from your mouth and traces before, while sort of, being absorbed into the rubbery hide. You catch a vein. I'm gonna actually say this is, and you don't get your fancy bonus. I'm just being narrative here. But you catch a vein of metal tracing through the rocky neck of the fire thing, and it
The
sparks up
metal
through
thing
it.
just gives me advantage,
Well,
which you gave me anyway. So
yeah, checks out. We see the light up on this sort of vein of ore tracing through its throat, and it actually
this
sustains
spell's
damage
kind of
into it.
terrible.
Pardon?
So this spell's kind of awful.
Oh, it's real bad. Yeah.
That spell. But I'm a
To be
Right,
fair, you're
dragon.
also
history.
third level characters fighting a Hydra. It's kind of ridiculous. Are you 3 or 4?
Yeah, we should all be dead right now.
Well,
Yeah. As it, continues to sort of thrash, Winston, you have a moment to prepare and do something. You are concentrating on your entangle. If you want to cast another concentration spell, you'd break the effect, but you can still cast other spells. You don't have to solely maintain it.
Yeah, can I do a horse kick at the thing? I turn around and just back legs just smack into its head.
Sure, yeah. So in normal D&D, that would be an unarmed strike, and it would be useless. It does 1 point of damage. That's silly, and I don't want to do that. So basically, you could... I'm going to give you 2 options. You could either just... No, wait, that's a concentration spell, I think. Never mind. I could be mistaken. I don't feel like double-checking it right now, so don't worry about it. Yeah, just make an attack with your normal weapon. This is a proxy your usual weapon attack, which I think is probably a quarterstaff or something. So you've rolled a strength save. That's gonna be basically the same as what you normally would be rolling anyway, so that checks out. In fact, you probably would be rolling an additional +2 on top of that, so you definitely connect. You look at the creature bound in your own spell. You know exactly how its body is going to be moving and how to control it, and you turn and you square up and you crack it. Please roll what your damage would be with a quarterstaff, which I think is probably D6. That feels probably appropriate considering how much damage the hand axe did, right?
Where's the D6? Is there a save that's equivalent to that?
Yeah, you can just roll a D6 on the sidebar on the left, or I can roll it for you. And I think you're getting +1 to this because I can see it's your strength save is +1. So.
Okay, do you roll it? I can't find the
I
button.
can. You're gonna do 5 damage to this creature. Your hooves crack into its side in the main central body mass. It shakes and wrestles against the vines, but is unable to move. As you crack into it, you think you might have broken something inside, but it's also very hard to tell. It's a mess, as is
Nice.
most things that you have fought.
I should change my name to Winston Hardfoot.
That's right. With that, and with the creature... Well, actually, yeah. I think that's probably what happens. So one of the necks, as you have previously noticed, is this Dark Void Energy one. As it wrestles against the vines, you see it, I don't want to say glow, that feels silly, but it attempts to once again like open this dark void beneath the creature as a whole, hoping to escape the entangling roots and vines. Now the vines are mainly coming from the creature itself, so as the hole beneath them opens, they simply begin to descend. You have a moment to react before it disappears, Flynn. Unless you want to like wait and do something inside, because you didn't have an opportunity to do something while in the void last time. If that's something you'd prefer to try and do.
So Cass was able to save me, so I'm still like hanging on to it, right?
Yes.
So yeah, do I have enough time to pull out my dagger and just like stab it in as like an extra handhold?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. Do you want me to like do that as like damage?
Yeah, roll for damage, but we'll also say narratively, you pull out this dagger and you stab it into the rubbery hide. Whether this hits an important bit or not, it's still gonna hold you in. But you roll a 22 or 21 if you had disadvantage, which you shouldn't have, so that's irrelevant. But roll a 22, stab into it. That says 4. Ooh, yeah, 1 plus 2, so that is 3. Sorry, I said 4 for some reason. First I thought you were gonna have more damage, but that makes sense. Plus 2 as your dex. Yeah. So stabbing in.
Yep, stabbing in, getting as good a grip as I can, and I'm riding that back into the hole.
Love it. Cass, Flynn, everything goes dark. Winston, Puddles, you once again see the creature disappear into darkness within the ground itself or something. Cass, you are once again in the darkness. You are primed to attack, and then your quarry disappeared, although kind of you along with it. As you've previously been in this space, you don't feel like simply stabbing back down is going to do anything. But you do still feel that tether with the magic of this place itself. And with your primed... Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can I see where it's thinking the hole to like go back out and... Oh, there's a way to like block it. That's not a horrible idea. Yeah. Is there a way I could like disrupt this thing's ability to get out of this place?
Yes, probably. You are connected to the energy of the place. You could disrupt it somehow if you wish to do so. Or at least you could try to, obviously. I can't say what you can or can't do.
Yeah, I'll try to like...
Is your attempt to strand it in the darkness like this?
Yeah, or... Yeah, and then hopefully make the whole thing small enough that only we can get out from, not the thing. That might be the plan. That might be my new plan.
Interesting. All right. Very cool. What does this look like in your mind? Or not to look like. I don't want to say like, because again, the space is less physical, right? But as you feel out and try to like hold on to the magical strands of energy, how would you personally be visualized?
I'll see if I can feel it and make the holes open up again and try to like make the opposite happen, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I can sort of see what you're thinking, I think.
Yeah.
You feel out into the space. You feel the darkness around you and how it... Not necessarily how it works, that feels too concrete, but you disrupt the flow of magical energy so that it loses control in a way. I think you, as you feel into it, you're not sure if you will then be able to control it, or if you will simply be kind of deactivating it itself. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by deactivating it itself?
What I mean is,
What's the internet
if
and-
you wanted to disrupt the magical energy of this void, that
Yeah.
might simply make it inert, as opposed to something that you could control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I might try it. No. So what you're saying that I might not be able to leave if that's the case?
Unless you
What
can
do you
find
mean by
another
inert?
way of leaving, you might not be able to leave. Yes.
Okay. Flint's down here too,
Yeah, somewhere.
somewhere. Yeah. So I can't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, supposedly. I don't know if you are, metaphysically aware of that concept, right?
Well, I mean, I thought I'd go in with me, so
Right.
I'd be
That
aware
makes
of-
sense. Yeah,
That's
that's
my
fair.
best guess.
That's fair.
Is there not a way to just make it so the hole smaller, just make it I don't like not big.
You've been
Just
in and
like a
out of
ball.
this a number of times. It's less of there being a hole. Like, again, there's when you descend into the darkness, it's not like you can look over and if you look over at Flynn and you both disappear into it, yes, there's like a hole that is bigger than you are. That's fair, but it's like it's unwrapping around you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess if you tried to
You can say no. It's okay.
unwrap. Now I'm trying to talk through how it works, because it is nebulous. I guess there is a sense of if the world itself unwraps, it can unwrap a sliver.
Yeah.
But if you then left through that sliver, you would not be with. This is all happening very fast. You can give this a shot. What would you like to do in this beat?
I would like to. I would like to try to slow it. I would like to try to slow it to advance out of the hole at least, but I don't want to render inert. How does that sound?
Trying to slow its advance?
Slow is coming out of the hole. Something I guess I'm thinking right now, if it comes out of the hole slowly, the people outside will have the upper hand on it. So I'm gonna try and see that happen, maybe.
Okay, I can see that. Sure. I'm not sure if my interpretation is exactly what you are going for, but magic is weird, and I think that that's okay. You're going to try and do this, and a thing is going to happen, assuming you succeed. Even if you succeed, it might not be the thing you wanted, because magic is weird. Is that fair?
That's fine by me, yeah.
Okay, cool. Make me a charisma check.
Okay, just a straight up charisma.
Take your proficiency bonus.
Okay, so that's what's my proficiency bonus? That's 2. So it's so I'm gonna click charisma, but add +2 to that. Okay.
Great.
Whoa.
That is a natural 20. And while you are in a state where probably I should be hitting you with the disadvantage, you also got an 18 on the other one, so.
Yeah, well, that's without the +2.
What I think is interesting is that you are both in a situation where you are exhausted, but also you have growing experience with the place you are in, right? So I think they kind of counter anyway.
Okay. So what happens?
Puddles and Winston. You saw the creature once again disappear into the darkness, a hole opening in the ground and sealing up again. After a beat, the hole begins to grow slowly, and like it is sluggish and hard to move, the creature starts to extend out of it, but like it's not just that the hole is opening slowly, it is that the creature is moving slowly as it does. Puddles specifically, I think, is probably going to like see this and key into like the it is the hole, right? It's not so much that it is creating this like it's not opening a passageway to somewhere else. It basically becomes this liquid void, right? And so as it opens and emerges, it is slowly extending as it sort of unfolds and refolds together. Something that happens, metaphysically super fast is now being slowed down to these like frames as they move in front of you. As this happens, you do see Flynn and Cass on its back in a way that like they were always on the back, but it unfolds from below and such and around them. And as that peels away, Cass and Flynn, you do see the darkness recede, but it's like an out-of-body experience. You can see... You still feel yourself in this separate state, but can also see the world opening up around you in the same way. Very much like emerging from a literal hole in the ground where you are both below it and like your vision's at that level where you can see outside at the world, but also your body and the rest of you is underneath the ground, right? But if you're not under the ground, you are unmade.
What do you mean?
That's so trippy.
What do you mean unmade?
Beyond the ground is not a hole, right? It is an otherness that is completely separate. And so you are both reforming while also seeing, whereas normally it would happen too fast to really distinguish the difference, right?
Yeah.
But you have slowed this state down to, you see like, I almost want to say like polygons forming around you, right? As you like your rigs assemble. Is very much like you don't have the lived experience to compare it to, right?
Oh yeah, no, I see that every day.
Yeah.
Anyway, when the back color loads in before the terrain.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just see the sky; it goes all the way down.
Cass, you are fully concentrating on slowing this process down, which is just you can't really do anything. That is all you're doing right now.
That's fair.
Flynn, you are unaware this was about to happen, and as you are beginning to emerge, you do feel like you are like thinking in steps too. Like it is metaphysically very disjointed what is happening, and so you are also similarly like slowed in time and thought as the world re-emerges around you.
Okay.
Winston and Puddles, on the other hand, you are seeing this happen in this like frame by frame appearing and moving and unfolding. Puddles, what do you do?
How many heads are left?
5. But as you see them like re-emerging and sort of reconstituting, you are seeing that they are no longer like twined around each other. They have like reset. They've been exiled and returned to the battlefield, if you will. No? Okay, never mind.
I mean, I do remember you saying you were like basing these on magic cards or something, but
I
that makes
suppose
that makes
kind of.
sense.
I wasn't really at this point, but fair enough. I just thought it was a good.
So all 5 heads are still
yes.
going?
You do see 5. Even the one that was previously like destroyed and split into 2, there is still both of those heads. It's did not completely reset to how it previously was or anything. It's just the entangling state has broken. And I think probably, I didn't say this to Winston, but you probably would have felt the connection with the magic like disappear as it disappeared, right? As it went away, you could no longer feel your control over the vines. They were on a different like plane of reality. If I wanted to use a D&D-ism.
Winston thinks this is above his pay grade.
Yeah, fair. Puddles, you can act first.
Can I see its void head?
Yes, you actually can. Yeah, it has reconstituted. It's not just become the void. It is still, yeah, it is there.
Bite it off.
All right. Are you making what attack are you making here?
Oh, do I need to make an attack roll to do that?
To bite off a head of a creature that is like 3 times your size, if not more?
That is a very Puddle thing to do.
He's shocking guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
it does not have
what's the word? I do a coup de grace because it's disabled.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to use the real coup de grace rules in the 5e, you get advantage.
If you'll let me, I'd love that.
I mean, if we were using them, you would simply get advantage and just be missing right now. So we're not going to use just those rules. Yeah, no, they're
Aren't they an
absolutely
automatic crit?
They're if you hit, they are. It's real bad. They're very weak in 5e.
Oh, they nerfed that.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want someone to coup de grace a player, I think, is really what happened. But
well, they get death saves.
That's true. Honestly, really pulling their punches on 5e. But I think that you get advantage on this, and we're going to not let them apply their armor to this. So your 10, that's going to hit. You bite into the nothingness that is the void head. Please roll me some damage. That is 4 lightning crackles through the purple, not even purple, like it's like color out of space, if you will, and crackles throughout that. That goes down to, there we go. Great. The head barely responds. It is moving at such a slow, like, pace. I want to say frame rate. That's how it feels in my brain. That it doesn't, like, respond to any sort of pain or anything going through it. It is hard to say whether or not it is taking effect at all, but you do see the, like, electricity sort of, like, dance through the ethereal, like, transparent, just, you know, vague etherealness of the neck and down into the main body. Winston, this is happening before you. How do you respond?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I have any attacks that hit the ethereal, but I think Winston's gonna try to do a poison attack, maybe battle something down.
Sure. What's that look like?
I think he's gonna like just stomp the ground really fast. That seems to be his thing, and then puffs of like gas, I guess, from the ground, and then he does this like avatar like hand push thing, and it sends it in the direction of the monster. It's just like a cloud of gas.
Very cool. Please make me. Is it a saving throw that I make, or do you make an attack roll?
Let me see. It just says poison spray. I think you have to make a saving throw or take 1d12 damage.
I think that's correct. How many targets does that hit?
Can I hit the 5 heads in one block?
So you're like, something that's sort of like noxious green gas and pushing it forward. For the purposes of this, it's just going to basically be hitting kind of everyone there, which is more area than it normally covers, but it is a very different situation than real normally would be. So I think it probably only is going to affect one of your allies, but I think it's more interesting if it does affect one. I hope you don't hurt me, or don't mind that. That's the word I'm looking for. But I think I'm going to roll a die and see which of the two friends it hits. Who wants odds? Who wants evens?
Who's in the splash zone?
Cass and Flynn.
I'll take odds.
Oh, that works. I was going to take evens anyway.
Great.
That was unexpected.
Oh no.
Cass, you barely even acknowledge what's happening around you. This actually makes sense because of your concentration.
Yeah.
The poison, is jettisoned into this slowly reconstituting pit, effect like seeping into the body of the Hydra and also into your fur and body. I will roll a d12 because that'll be more convenient than asking you to, Mocha. Okay, you successfully do 10 damage, which is very cool. However, Cass, you are also going to be taking 10 damage.
I think I'm down for the count then, actually.
Interesting.
Is there any roll I can make that would, I don't know. I guess not. I guess it's like done.
Well, I mean, you're not just gonna like immediately die, throw your character sheet out or anything. But
well, no, but I mean, I'm gonna have to like make death saves, right? Or am I?
I think so. This poison gets into your fur, and you unable to like really react in any way that can like avoid it. You immediately feel your concentration break, and as it does, you see the light around you and start to cough, and you've been reduced to 0 hit points.
Yeah, I was 10, exactly 10 before.
Exactly 10. Ooh, interesting. Time speeds up immediately as things return to normal. Time unfolds again. Like this was from a like near instantaneous thing down to a very slow visualizable thing. So there's like sudden whiplash as time speeds up again for everyone involved, and you slump off of the creature, now visible before everyone, and hit the ground hard. Crack. Your body is limp on the floor of the forest floor. That works.
Forest floor, yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, we'll get to you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Flynn, time has returned. You have this like, not memory, that's what we were saying. You just experienced, that's a better way of saying it. The slowing down of the world and everything outside of or within this bubble. and as it comes back, you similarly have this like whiplash as time recovers. You are able to adjust yourself and not get, thrown to the ground like Cass was, and you are once again perched upon this creature. You notice the head sagging and the body stumbling. It is not holding together well. What do you do?
Flynn is done. Flynn's pissed. Flynn has gone, like, he's just at the end of his rope. So he already has his hand axe and his dagger. One of them is firmly embedded in flesh.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to keep hacking and slashing, hack and slash. And I have the fighting style dueling, so does that mean I can make 2 attacks now that both my weapons are out?
I believe dueling is technically like you get bonuses if you use like a one-handed weapon. It's like rapier fighting basically. But I don't think you've ever used it, so like whatever. Let's say you can hit it really hard with 2 weapons. That's fun. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, alright, we'll leave the dagger where it was. It didn't seem to do a whole lot of damage anyway. We'll just keep slashing with that hand axe. And I guess it says, when you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon.
There you go. Yeah. It's supposed to be like rapier fighting is what that dueling is representing.
Okay, cool. Hand axe.
Great.
Oh, I see. Just for the funsies, while just hacking and slashing at this creature, Flynn's just kind of like gotten a little crazy, and he just starts screaming like, "Get out of my forest!"
Nice. Yeah. You just start to hack at it. Just like mark after mark. I'm going to actually just sort of come back to that because I like that sort of cinematically happening. It's so easy to reduce attacks to like a single roll, and it's very just like, and you hit them once and they die, and it's like, that's not, So we see you like just one hit after another, into the back and I guess spine if it had one. Maybe it has one. I don't really know. It's a weird magic monster entity thing. Puddles and Winston, you see just Flynn losing it, going in. I shouldn't say losing it, but losing his temper.
No, you're right.
That's accurate.
Flynn's been into the void twice already, and he just saw Cass fall off this thing's back unconscious. Like, Flynn is done.
Yeah.
Flynn's gone full kamikaze.
So you see them hacking into it. Do either of you have immediate reactions to that? How about Puddles first?
I'm not sure what you mean.
What do you do? I kind of want like the beats of what everyone's doing right now. We can sort of walk through it as it makes sense.
Still trying to gnaw this head off.
All right. Yep. We cut from like Flynn just making hack after hack down to Puddles, who is just jaw biting into the neck and throat and head of one of these. Winston, you look back and forth between the two of them. What do you do?
Oh, I look at Flynn and I go, I like the way you think, my big-tailed friend. Let's do a stab, but with our teeth, unless we don't have teeth. And I summon my ice knife, and I toss it at, like, near where Flynn's biting.
I don't think Flynn is biting, but sure. Yeah, you summon this ice knife into the air and get ready to hurl it towards the creature. Cass, you lie on the ground.
Yeah, I am not doing good.
You're unconscious. This is truly darkness at this point, not laced with Starry Moat's actual darkness. Can you make me roll a d20? As a death saving
just roll
throw.
a d20?
Roll a death saving throw.
It's just a d20, huh?
It's a d20.
Whoa!
And on a natural
Jesus,
20, your
what
eyes
god did you
open
pray to before this?
and you stand up.
You should buy a lottery ticket.
You
Yeah, for real.
cough
What the heck?
and you find yourself awake. You roll onto your back, and you look up at the Hydra, necks flailing as Flynn hacks into it with an axe or
Do
maybe
I
a
get
knife.
any HP back? Or,
You have 1 hit point.
okay.
How much damage did you?
You see. Sorry?
How much damage did Flynn do?
I haven't.
Oh,
I haven't,
yeah.
I haven't resolved the damage yet. I'm going through just like what's happening. You see Puddles biting into it, electricity sparking from his mouth. You see Winston about to throw this icicle, this sharpened ice knives into the air, into the body mass of the creature. Let's all roll some damage. That's a good idea. Flynn has rolled a 6. Would you like to roll for me, Puddles?
I thought I already.
Oh, I'm getting another turn.
Did you? No, you haven't rolled since. You described yourself as biting into it, so like, that's what you're doing, right?
Oh, okay. I thought it wasn't my turn again. Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah, I was
actually,
basically
do you
getting
want me
all
to
of
do
the
this?
actions for the round, rapid fire. Lightning courses from your mouth. Very good. And Winston, you throw your ice knife. What is the damage on the ice knife?
1d10 damage
Nice.
on a hit.
Okay. And I think it also explodes for like d6 or something. It's a pretty good spell. So roll your damage. Don't bother rolling to hit. You got it. In this specific situation, because of everything that's lined up.
How do I roll for damage? Is it strength or?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you want me to roll the d10? D10.
Oh, okay.
You get an 8 on that. And you get an additional, I think it's a d6. Can you double check that for me?
On hit, the target takes 1d10 damage, hit or miss. Series saving throw or take 2d6 cold damage.
2d6? Okay. The icicles pierce into it and shatter. Shards of ice fling in every direction. Additional 7 damage. Cass, you shield your face as shards of ice fly by, and you look at this creature.
Yeah, I feel like very like staggered, very.
Yeah, and you
like,
can, in your like hazy state, you see the like magical thread holding this entire thing together. It is loose and ready to fall apart at any moment. What do you do?
Can I? Well, if it's right, like snap it.
Just like
Try to?
mentally, just like
Yeah, try to
like,
break this.
break the remaining thread.
Yeah.
Make me a. This is not a charisma anymore. You're not directly feeling it like you were before. This is actually you learning, like reaching into your memory of magical knowledge. Make me an Arcana check.
Okay. It's like it's around some time.
I think you get it. I shouldn't give you advantage for this. I'm not going to. Sorry. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
Big moment, but yeah. It's okay.
You see the threads. You try to reach out, but you are too weak right now. You can just hold on.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a lie down. I'm just gonna, yeah.
Yeah. As you
I
slump back.
I go to like myself down. And I just like slump on the floor.
Mm-hmm. You slump back.
Like,
you look up at this, and you see the sun is beginning to rise.
oh, that's nice. I guess it's true to say about 10 lives.
In a moment, each of you notice 6, 7, 8, 10 figures appear surrounding you from every direction. People-sized people, whether they are mice or dogs or birds, appearing around, all in matching uniforms. And
kind of like my stolen cloak, yeah, like
magical energy pours out from each of them, binding this creature. Let's go through everyone's reaction in order. Flynn.
Flynn doesn't notice.
Flynn doesn't notice.
His axe.
Your axe falls one last time. Make me a damage roll for fun, but I think it's dead. That is some serious damage. That is max damage you can get. You crack into it. You feel... Probably you don't personally feel it. You actually probably continue hacking into it.
Oh, definitely.
But Puddles, definitely you feel the magical like light within this fade. But as the magical bindings form around it from all of the figures surrounding you, you don't see it like collapse and fall as the pieces are held together. They're no longer moving. They would go limp if they could. Puddles, what do you do?
I kind of let go and gasp for breath and fall back and land flat on my shell.
Great.
Lay out big. Where's where's Cass? You speak Cass, or she like Cass?
So actually, I'm gonna try. I don't know. I don't know if it's something I can really do. I'm gonna try and like crawl and hide somewhere because I don't want to be seen by these people.
Very good. Okay. You know what? Make me a stealth check. Why not? That's like a thing rogues do.
Yeah, okay, sure.
We see you slink away with a 27. That's another 19/20. You get the 26 disadvantage, blah, blah, blah. You're exhausted, but you are able to do those fight or flight instincts. They're pretty good.
I think I like find like but just like kind of throw myself in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Winston, a very Winston, a very like pointy looking dog. Does that make sense to you? Walks up to you personally. and
A pointy-looking dog?
yeah, I
Like a
just mean
really
like that
long
kind of
nose?
breed of dog, right? Ones that are very like all angles. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like the TikTok dog?
Or like a Doberman
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, like that kind of.
Oh, okay, that kind of pointy.
Like one that would be called a pointer.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
They approach you. Stand down, civilian. We'll take it from here.
I demand an answer. What is that thing that we've been fighting?
You're lucky to be alive. Good job.
Is it dead? Will it be contained?
Okay. So they're going to be responding quicker than I am doing it right now, so please don't read into my stalling. But they look at you, and they're just like, prattling off the, like, routine get the civilians to, like, stand down, like, responses. I think they are saying, like, how would they word it? Because it is this, like, very clearly you are aware that it is a like dangerous thing, right? This specimen, and so just saying that is not useful or relevant to anyone involved. But they do, prattle off that very rote, I can't speak on this yet. Please, we need to act quickly to contain this. We thank you for your service. Do not get in the way, please. That kind of stuff, right? Flynn, you are continuing to hack at it on its back. You have not noticed the people surrounding you, and the sort of magical bindings that lace up over it are quickly another pair like laces around you, and you find yourself unable to move as well. You can look up and see what's happening now.
Yeah, Flynn is just like covered in like hunks of like damp fur or whatever this thing was covered in, and like blood or ichor or whatever was inside it.
Yep.
It's just like dripping off my fur, and I'm like almost foaming at the mouth. I look over at these, presumably they're wizards from the guild. Is that what we're getting from this?
Yeah, as you look up and see them, and as Cass has noticed, and I have not specifically said it to Puddles, but I'm sure Puddles would also definitely notice, they are uniformed as official, wizard guild council members. Not guild, council members, yeah. As you look up, Flynn, you do see, you like lock eyes. Not with like one of the actual wizards around you, but behind one of the wizards. Arlen.
Aldrin?
Yes, Aldrin.
Oh.
Because he was not in the uniform, he is behind one of them, but you will definitely lock eyes with him, and you see him there. He locks eyes with you, and he turns to walk away.
Don't you dare walk away from me, you goddamn mangy cur! You might have saved our asses by bringing them here, but you also ditched us. If you ever come back into my forest again after this day, I swear I'll hunt you down. And then I spit in a blood full of blood. Flynn does not like betrayal.
That has no fury like an angry squirrel.
I think we cut there. I realize this is like a tense situation. What exactly happens from this point to the next point is like important and stressful and what's happening, but it's also the kind of thing I imagine shakes out between scene cuts.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where do
I'll have a moment with this lead guy who's got a bunch of words for us.
Please. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And I'll be like, I'm too tired for this. You can debrief me in the morning. You're not permitted to leave until we say so.
Yeah, they cock an eyebrow at you, and I think after a beat they nod, right? It is like, you deserve to know. Good job.
Well, there's a trick, you see, where military people are really good at taking orders. It doesn't really matter who's from.
Cool.
Tell them to sit.
We cut ahead. I imagine we are in the sort of main area of the hot springs. We see Winston cleaning up, sweeping or something. We see, fire damage, although nothing like really burnt down beyond repair. And we see all of you, exhausted. Maybe either like literally back and sitting down and like leaning against the wall, or maybe it makes more sense to be cutting to like you all have slept and it is the next day. I'm not 100% sure. Where do we want to jump in? Because to me, this is kind of where the movie ends and the epilogue starts.
Makes sense.
So that's sort of what I'm picturing right now. What do each of you want to say?
Yeah. I wanna So I wanna do some more sneaking stuff. I wanna to get the notes that are in Puddles' sleeping area and get very notice that of the information I've gathered and not let them get their hands on it.
Puddles, do you think that Cass would have the opportunity to take those items? Or do you want to contest that in some way?
Absolutely.
Great. Wait, which is it?
Absolutely, we'd be able to do that. I won't sleep for a week.
Great. So yeah, we see you, Cass. You have all of the items.
Although, frankly, she's tired than I am, so I don't know how to split this up.
Sure.
I got good fireplay and I got the drive, so
yeah, I can't argue with
Power
that.
through. Power through. All right.
Yeah. I'm powering through. I'm clutching my chest and like coughing as I do this, but I'm doing this. Yeah.
Well, Flynn has been wounded since before we even left the hot spring in the first place, like in the very first session.
Yep.
So wherever this and whenever this meeting takes place, this debriefing takes place, he's demanding that it happens in a hot spring.
Very good.
Nice.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably not present for this as I am going around doing things.
Well, I imagine you secure these documents and get them into a safe spot and then still go to sleep, right? Like, this is not happening immediately. This is us sort of skipping through time, right? But I think that you are able to get your hands on pertinent? It's a weird word. Documents and such, and get them squirreled away. That feels inappropriate to say.
Squirreled away.
Do you hear Flynn fuck? Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so you're doing that. We're not like, I don't think that you're like immediately going and calling anyone. You are just getting them secured. at the time being. Winston, I sort of described you as cleaning and getting things as good as you can. Again, this is sort of like I'm sure you do go and like fall asleep first. Probably this is the next, I don't know how long you're sleeping for, but a decent amount of time before anything is happening. But if there's beats we want to see, as we've described so far, let's hear those. But maybe I think it does sound like everyone wants to sort of get to the like, okay, once things have stabilized, then there's a scene. But like Cass wanted to establish those documents before that happens, I want to give you the opportunity to, if you have anything. Cool. So it is an indeterminate amount of time later, like a movie cutting between scenes. Who knows how much time passes? And you are in the hot springs. We see Flynn soaking in the springs themselves. We see probably Winston cleaning more. We see Puddles. Where are you?
Probably in the hot spring for a bit.
Great.
For a while.
And we see Cass. You had previously, gotten these documents and gotten them to a place that you felt was secure. Are you present here, or are you off doing something else, or?
I think. Yeah, I guess I can't really deny my involvement in this whole thing, but
Right, you wanted to not even be noticed by the.
Yeah, I think as far as like Flynn and everyone else knows, I skipped town, but I think I'm watching from somewhere.
I like that.
Like
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did disappear that night or morning, even.
Yeah. Yeah.
That works. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's supposed to be this like final scene with the like, council wizard addressing everyone, and honestly, I don't see that scene play out. I see it like just kind of being alluded to, like the camera shot. Probably actually the camera follows Cass, right, and we see her looking down at the hot springs and not hearing exactly what is said. Probably a lot of shouting, but nothing specifically determinable.
Yeah.
I want to give you a nice resolution, but I don't think there's satisfying answers here. It is a stressful situation that really none of you should have had to go through, and nobody wants to give a straight answer.
Yeah.
Guess you disappear into the forest.
Yeah, and
I want to roll credits, but if anyone has an epilogue, I feel like you should have the chance to have the floor.
Yeah.
I think if anything, we're just Puddles at least is just kind of, and maybe Flynn, I'm guessing, is just like kind of belligerent until the council or whatever like makes some sort of, I don't know, donation or something to like try to make up for putting us through all this shit.
Right.
Yeah, and Flynn tries to strangle out some guarantees that nothing like this will ever enter his woods again.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how successful he is, but
I kind of feel like after like you kind of like have this like kind of argument, so you go back to maybe Flynn goes back to his room and there's like a little note somewhere on the
Sorry, you're cutting out.
Like, I still want my statue.
Okay, so this is the first time that Flynn has laughed since before the show started. And he definitely spends the next like couple of months in negotiations with his like presumably his parents, about like where it should go and how big it should be and how much money he's allowed to spend on it. Because it happens. Definitely it happens.
Nice. B, can you just say that again for the recording? I think I cut out, honestly. I'm sorry.
I
get
still want my statue.
Yeah, I still understand. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Very good.
I think actually what ends up happening is that about like 3 or 4 months later, there's like a little clearing outside the roadway that kind of like leads into like off the main road and into towards the hot springs. And presumably there's some signage out there that kind of indicates the hot springs are there. But I think that is like replaced with this big, beautiful, embossed, like hard wooden sign that's all painted and beautiful. And just behind it is a not quite life-size statue of all of us.
Nice.
With caskets, pride of place in the center. And Winston kind of like towers behind the rest of us shorter characters protectively. And yeah, we're all just like, I don't know, maybe should there be a plaque? Like the heroes of the hot springs or something like that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's no explanation on the statuary. So people have to ask Winston what happens, which gives Winston an excellent business opportunity for storytelling.
Yes. Free story comes with, a hot spring bath, but you have to pay for the bath first.
Nice.
Yeah. And I imagine we all, like, probably we are still going to be doing Hydra, or still going to be doing, like, sneaky stuff in the background, but that's, like, an ongoing quest. That's what I thought we got the experience.
Yes. And Warren's ears somehow become longer than his body at this point.
Nice.
Nice. Good job, everyone.
Yeah. That was a good little session.
Hooray!
Other than that, which very good. I really enjoyed you all adding details there. I don't actually know how to end just this, like us as people. So yeah, thanks everyone for playing Hydras and Hot Springs and Hydras, that one. And also, thanks everyone for listening. If you're hearing this, thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah,
we made it.
We made it. This was episode 10. This was the finale. Will we do a season 2? I have no idea. This was kind of a weird, messy, exhausting thing. So I don't know, but I did have a good time. All things said and done.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So yeah, Darcy, you're talking to me for a stream, and like, I think you're right. Ending stuff is really good. It felt good to have this like content wrapped up of it.
I know there's like a ton of loose ends because it's a role-playing game, and not everything that comes up has a nice tidy bow on it, right? Like I imagine that probably, well, maybe I should even just say this, right? Like, it's like I want there to be that like cool, nice ending, and so my brain was like, no, just let it end. But like probably there would be something with the mouse friends that you met, Jez and Tiff, where we see like a scene of Jez returning to the village downstream, and while at the time they had left to investigate this disease that had come from Jiraga, which didn't really get built upon. So it's this kind of this loose end that maybe is better to just leave. So I didn't bring it up again, but probably we see like that this small village is now like occupied by like wizards and stuff, trying to like deal with this situation that has been identified and established. And while it's not really a good scene, it is something happening, and Jez and Tiff get to reunite.
I almost forgot about them,
Yeah.
but I'm imagining a scene where Winston cleans and then finds like a severed limb and just remembers, oh, I forgot to attach it.
Also, some people did die. Like, it's very easy to like gloss over, but those dogs did not come back. Who else? No, who knows who else died? I don't know.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
tragic.
Sorry to be a bummer.
Oh, bummer.
You did good.
Yeah, well.
You did good.
It was a net win on the whole.
Yeah.
Hey,